On the number 220 Skidoo, the Makita Baja Jerky entry. Jacob Yerk on one of the 2 all-finish concrete sleds that are in the pro class. Oscar Norm on the Monster Energy FXR Pertec Polaris, teammate, of course, to Hunter Patnode. And on the Ditch Witch of Minnesota and Iowa, number 21 Polaris, it'll be Cole Coutu. Cole lined up all the way to the outside. Everybody else kind of hugging the inside hub here on the starting line. They're on the button, getting the pipes up to temperature as we get ready for the first pro qualifier of the evening here on a cold night in Fargo, North Dakota. Here the pipes coming up to temperature. Here we go. Pro qualifier action off and running. Hunter Patnode trying to get the hole shot, and he doesn't. Instead, from the outside, it's Cole Coutu who will grab the hole shot. Patnode trying to go step for step with him, and then a battle for the 3rd spot. Francis Pelletier will dive down to the inside, and he'll take that 3rd spot away from Jacob Yerk.
Hunter Patnode, number 8 for Shearing Speed Sports Skidoo, timing those rhythms just a little bit better than Cole Coutu, but it's not over yet. Cole Coutu finds a bit of ground here as they head towards the Amsoil finish line, lap 1.
Let's see what happens here as Coutu will be on the outside of this Coast Materials corner. He cuts to the inside. Patnode rails the berm, and Patnode will jump up into the lead over the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Jacob Yerk, meanwhile, flying into the frame on that red and white all-finished concrete Coast Materials Arctic sled, trying to steal that 2nd spot from Coutu, and Pelletier not too far behind back there in the number 4 spot.
Hunter Patnode and Cole Coutu, like a rubber band between them, seem to be slingshotting back and forth here, so I imagine this one is going to continue to transpire, but we see Hunter Patnode out front here, who's been putting together a great season. Like we had talked about earlier, Paul, despite injuries, despite some setbacks, Hunter Patnode is up there in the championship points chase and a multi-time podium contender.
He touches down off the triple, out to the outside of the FXR turn. We've got a battle for 2nd and 3rd starting to heat up behind your race leader, Patnode, and they're not too far behind. There's Patnode over the Amsoil finish line. They're 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, right tight together on the track. 2nd spot is Coutu, followed by Yerk, who's only a couple of sled lengths back behind him.
And Jacob Yerk, the number 727 Arctic Cat for All Finish Racing. Arctic Cat here based out of West Fargo, North Dakota. I've got my eye on this guy. Why is that? Because he has an axe to grind. Him and the entire team. I was talking to Jacob Yerk earlier today, and he says on paper the season has not looked good. But despite the numbers, it's been anything but. It's been all about learning and progression. This team has been learning so much each and every time out on track. Today, however, he's been struggling with his suspension setup, so they've been working on getting it dialed in throughout the day, but he's looking great here in the top 3, currently sitting 3rd.
Coming onto the backstretch, it looked like that suspension offloaded, almost bucked him off the sled, and he got a little twisted. Francis Pelletier on the Warren Makita Baja Jerky Skidoo right behind him there, almost stole that 3rd spot away, but now Yerk able to power away, and he's setting his sights on Cole Coutu directly in front of him. You can see the snow dust flying up in the air with the cold temperatures and the sugary snow conditions. Instead of roost, it's more like dust that you're riding through.
And Hunter Patnode, number 8, kind of stretching his legs out front in this point. So I had some stuff on Francis Pelletier, and why does that guy impress me so much? Because like he said in opening ceremonies in his interview with Josie Christian, is that he doesn't come out here with the intentions of sweeping. Yes, contact is made. We see between the 727 of Jacob Yerk and Cole Coutu. Big battle shaping up for that 2nd place spot, and Francis Pelletier right there.
Hit the eject button for Jacob Yerk. And the all-finished concrete sled winds up on its side. Meanwhile, coming down here for the 2-to-go signal, Patnode just cruising along here at the front of the field. And that means now that Cole Coutu is going to get a little bit of breathing room. I say a little because only about 4 sled lengths behind him is where Francis Pelletier is. Cody Cam and Oscar Norm, the Hensch's teammates, running 4th and 5th.
And Cole Coutu, he does have a little bit of work to do. Hunter Patnode about a 4.3 second lead over 2nd, but Francis Pelletier right there, just over a second behind Kolkatu. And Francis, we talked about last year, he was not setting out to be on the podium. Obviously, you always want to get those good results, but his goal was just to get out there and show speed and learn a lot in his rookie year in the pro class, and he came away runner-up in the points championship. So that sweep you had seen from him in rounds 3 and 4, that wasn't necessarily in the game plan. He just wants to go out and do the best that he can do, and man, was it impressive.
Patno touching down again off the triple. Carries that outside line, keeping the speed and the momentum up on the Shearing Speed Sport Amsoil U.S. Air Force Skidoo sled as he hits the white flag. He'll come down into this Coast Materials turn, ramp off the berm. Patno showing really good form here.
We're taking a look at the lap times and the fastest sled on track currently. It is Hunter Patno out front still. Just actually now it is Cody Cam at a 56.445 setting quick time in round 1, heat 1.
And if you were watching Hunter Patno for the first time here, you would know what a physical ringer this guy has been through this season, because he looks like he's in classic form, but man, he was hurt pretty good at the beginning of the season.
It was not pretty. So we caught up with him, the Sledhead 24/7 team, and our production team caught up with him and his wife, Andy, to get their perspective on it as an outsider. We'll have more coming soon on there, but this battle is not over between Francis Pelletier and Kolkatu.
And they're going to carry it down for second right behind your race winner, Patno. And Katu's going to hang on. Nice second place finish for him. Third spot will go to Pelletier, followed by Cam and Norum. And then it looks like it'll be Adam Peterson and Jacob Yerk who will round out the field here in this pro qualifier. Let's hear from our winner, Hunter Patno. He's standing by with Josie.
Starting off the weekend, getting that qualifying win. Let's talk about track, the conditions out there, and how it's holding up, how you feel going into the rest of the night.
Yeah, obviously with the weather, it's a little bit hard. So just trying to find smart lines, and track's staying pretty smooth right now, but just got to watch out for the ice edges.
Well, good luck the rest of the night.
Thumbs up from the Ocho, Hunter Patno, as he picks up the win in our first pro qualifier. We're getting ready for pro qualifier number 2. Let's get this pre-race report from Josie before we get underway. Now you see warming up there's Logan Christian. That's Hunter Patno's teammate on the Shearing Speed Sport number 43, the Amsoil U.S. Air Force climb sled. Travis Kern on the Ditch Witch of Minnesota and Iowa 201. And there's Jacob Yerk's teammate on the other all-finish Concrete Coast Materials Arctic Cat, Daniel Benham. Your point leader, Elias Ischel, right there in the middle with that blue top on that Skidoo for Thien Motorsports. Trent Whitwer in the field with his number 115. Emil Haar is in the field here, as well as Travis Muller on the number 436.
Trent Whitwer, the number 115 Arctic Cat rider for Woody's Racing, was a podium finisher. Grabbed a P3 last time here in 2021. And Travis Muller with a very impressive qualifying win in Dubuque just a few weeks ago. That guy is all grit, one of the true privateers out here in the pro class.
Let's see who can grab the hole shot. Oh, look at that. Nice hole shot for Benham, but coming on the outside, Emil Haar says, see ya, and he'll jump into the lead. Following him through is Logan Christian. Logan getting a little off rhythm. Same thing happens to Haar, and here comes the Viking Rocket into the mix.
Yeah, it's all about timing those rhythms just right there in turn 2 as they head onto the FXR corner on the front stretch.
So right now, Benham has the lead. Haar and Ischel about to be locked in combat for the number 2 spot over the Amsoil finish line jump. They'll skate down into the Coast Materials turn, and coming off the inside, Viking Rocket jumps up into the number 2 spot over the U.S. Air Force Flyaway. Also getting a good start and trying to run up there. Just behind this battle for the lead is Kyle Pauline, as Pauline has gotten by Logan Christian to move up to 4th.
And Elias Ischel, he may be your points leader. He may have 2 wins to his credit from rounds 1 and 2, but who has been more consistent this season? It has been the number 31 of Emil Haar for Judnick Motorsports Polaris.
And now Emil watching the business end of Ischel in front of him as they go through the rhythm section. And as Haley just said, really critical to get the timing and the throttle response right. You want to be able to just kind of float, double, float, double through that section. Haar coming down off the triple. Ischel just a couple of sled lengths in front of them as they chase back down through the all-finished concrete rhythm section. Speaking of which, their rider Daniel Benham setting the pace there. You saw a glimpse of him about 1.5 seconds out in front here as he hits the U.S. Air Force flyaway.
And that battle for the second place spot between Elias Ischel and Emil Haar. Here's why I like this matchup even more. You're looking at Ischel and Haar. Those are your top 2 average qualifiers for this year. They are both tied. Their average qualifying effort is a 4.5. So this qualifier could be the tiebreaker.
And because there were points awarded for the qualifying as well as the finals, that's why Elias Ischel, with that consistency in his qualifying efforts, has been able to maintain the point lead despite not having the good innings, if you will, in rounds 3 and 4 in Dubuque. Right now, great innings for Daniel Benham on the number 221. This all-finished concrete Arctic Cat team has shown speed on more than one occasion this season, and they've won a couple of qualifiers. They just haven't been able to turn that luck around and get a win in the final yet.
That's right, and Daniel Benham, also catching up with him earlier, I said you've been faced with some big adversity. At Shakopee, it was really tough, but they've gained ground in Dubuque, but just the qualifying was good, the features were not. So he needs to put together those pieces in the final, but he said the atmosphere has not changed with the team. It's business as usual. We're getting a look at your points leader, Elias Ischel, and 64% of Elias Ischel's total points right now are coming from the heats, whereas Emil Haar, 41.67% of his total points so far. So that would suggest that Elias Ischel has been stronger in the heat races, whereas Haar has been better in the finals.
And you can see the brake rotor glowing on the sled just to the front of where Elias's left boot is. Yeah, they use a lot of brake, believe it or not, on these sleds. Tearing around this track, Ischel on the Team Motorsports Skidoo right now is a couple of seconds back with a couple laps left to go. Haar maintaining the 3rd spot on that Judd Motorsport Polaris, sponsored by Jack Links and Climb. There's the Viking Rocket cranking his way off the inside of the Arctic Cat corner here, but still Daniel Benham setting the pace with about a lap and a half left to go in this qualifier.
And Daniel Benham, we're catching up with him earlier, and he was just singing the praises about this track. He said it gives him old school vibes, or old school, if you will, dating back to, around the 2014 era, this big style track. And he said he couldn't be happier with it. He's having so much fun out there in practice today, really enjoying it. He said also in his performance earlier this season in Dubuque, Iowa, the last time we had seen him, he couldn't seem to make it past turn 1 in the finals. So qualifying effort looking stout tonight for the 221 of Dan Benham as the white flag flies.
He'll crank that red and white Arctic Cat back around that Cost Materials turn, head for the U.S. Air Force flyaway. So steady as she goes right now for Benham at the head of the class. Ischel and Haar running in spots 2 and 3. Logan Christian got back by Kyle Pauline a couple laps ago to move into 4th. So Pauline sitting back in the number 5 spot as we continue around on the final lap of this pro qualifier.
Daniel Benham starting the night off on the right foot. Almost a 2.5 second differential ahead of Elias Ischel. And about a second behind him, a second and a half actually, Emil Haar. So distancing themselves amongst the top 3.
Benham comes off the triple, and now he'll hit that all-finished concrete rhythm section over those rollers to the Amsoil finish line. A win for Daniel Benham in a pro qualifier here this evening. Ischel finishes 2nd. 3rd spot goes to Emil Haar. It'll be Logan Christian across for 4th, Kyle Pauline in 5th. They're followed by Travis Kern, Trent Whitwer, and Travis Muller. So that is the run here for this pro qualifier. Let's hear from Daniel Benham now with Josie.
Dan Benham, excited to see you up here for the qualifying rounds. Big weekend for you in all-finished concrete. Kind of talk me through that race, going back to that start line, and kind of the thought process for such a unique start we have.
Yeah, the team has been working so hard on the starts, and I think we're there. So, yeah, it should be a really good night. The track is shaping up good. It was a lot more difficult here, even though it was groomed, than it was in practice. So really looking forward to the rest of the night.
Well, good luck the rest of the night.
When Daniel Benham is comfortable, that could spell trouble for the rest of the field, that is for sure. So Benham heads back into the pit area. We're getting ready to go pro light racing for round number 2. Our first qualifier getting ready to fire the engines up here momentarily. You're looking at Evan